Just give it a second, see if we're live.
It's a very professional program we run here.
Are we up and running?
Yeah.
I mean, it shows we're good on YouTube.
Awesome. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. It is another beautiful Tuesday evening here with Drinks and Toys. I am joined by, of course, Wheezy. Wheezy, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How's it going?
Good deal. Good stuff. I'm doing well. And Johnny, welcome back, man. Looks like you had a good toy show
Salud.
in there.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. I'm tired as hell, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I've caught up with a couple people already that said they're just absolutely drained and done, man. But it's all good. Good show. So
Well worth it.
we have a special guest tonight, and it's always fun when we have a guest because we never know what the hell is going to happen. I'd like to introduce the NECA King.
Cheers.
So it should be
Cheers.
good. Welcome aboard, man. Looking forward to this. There's a lot of I don't know how to put this. There's a lot of shit out there right now regarding NECA. And speculations and rumors and the
My
chat-
kingdom's in shambles.
dude, the chats and like everything are just nuts. And I think it's cool. I think we can
Real quick salute to everyone in the chat. Joe, Cal, what's up?
we definitely will dive into that pretty heavy. But yeah, like Johnny said, guys, welcome aboard. We see the cow and we see Joe, our typicals in there. And I'm sure we'll be joined by quite a few others. They like to join in at the last minute. It seems like the last hour of the show. For those of you that are not watching this live and you check us out later, Gus, welcome. What's up, man? Check us out on Spotify or vice versa. If you listen to us on Spotify, take the time to come see us live, man. It's a lot of fun. But make sure either way you're liking, following, subscribing, all that wonderful stuff. And NECA King, you got anything you want to plug before we get rocking?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I just released the greatest comedy skit of all time concerning collecting. It's called $10,000 Shelf. And Robin Leach and political commentator Tariq Nasheed come into this very room and do a Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous episode with my toy collection. So that dropped a couple of weeks ago. Nobody watched it. It wasn't the Mad Hatter doing an Eminem parody, so nobody watched it. And but go check out $10,000 Shelf on the NECA King and all the rest of my unboxings.
I just like how you reference Mad Hatter.
Oh shit, Psycho's here.
I love Hatter. Mea culpa. I love Hatter. I hate to say it.
Oh, snap. Psycho,
Sneaking at the
welcome
last
aboard.
minute. It's like somebody kicked the lights on and the roaches came out. Psycho, what's up?
What's up, gentlemen?
Welcome.
Cheers.
So I'm just gonna call you King because it's gonna be easier. Because if I have to keep calling you the NECA King the whole time, it's gonna drive
Just
me
call me
nuts.
Dan. You can just call me Dan. My name's Dan.
Oh, okay. There we go, Dan.
If he
That
calls
works.
you the NECA King too much, he'll say the wrong thing and we'll get canceled. What's
That
going
is
to
not
He
happen?
has to say the whole thing like a pimp named Slickback.
He's going to be like Peter in that one episode. That's
Oh, God.
we
3
all know
minutes
that
and 31
episode.
seconds. We are 3 minutes and 31 seconds in, and we're already there. It's fantastic.
Like I said, the NECA King is just to piss people off. I'm not even a
That's-
real collector. I'm just the
That's
guy
okay.
who started buying Ninja Turtles 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I said,
just wait until you talk to Psycho. You guys get along great. So,
yeah, I just put my stamp on it right in the gate.
I mean,
Psycho, you good tonight, man? You good?
I guess I don't know why I'm catching strays. I didn't even do anything.
Like it's
So,
something cute, cuz.
So, God, the chat already. So yeah, so again, I don't know. I don't know what's causing all the crazy ass commotion. It's like I'm seeing in like every other group that people want to say it's gospel, and then you got other people that are like, no, it's just speculation, and then other podcasts, right? Like we've had the Reluctant Adult guys on once or twice, and and of course
Good
I know
guys.
some of us follow their stuff, and it's crazy the chatter that's going on out there right now regarding NECA, and is like we always used to joke and speculate: are they gone? Are they going away? And now it looks like, I mean, just from what we're seeing, right? That's possible. Something like that could be going down. So
I mean,
where we
NECA's
at?
been on the verge of closing, according to the internet, for about 10 years, right? Like anytime somebody does a bad decision, NECA, oh, that's it, they're gone. I don't think NECA's going anywhere, but things definitely seem something's going on, right? Something's changed. What it is, we don't know. But Dan and I were speaking earlier before everybody else joined in. But Dan, you said you feel like it's within like the past year, even not even recently, like over the past year or so.
I mean, I think they might have gotten wind of something. I mean, I think it started with the blind boxes. That was like a year and a half ago.
That's fair.
They started dumping inventory like a year and a half ago, and it has just accelerated now. And when I first started collecting, which was only 2.5 years ago, so I'm like a wide-eyed doe here. But the perception was that like NECA was not a like top of the line brand, but it was something that like had a legitimate sort of established reputation in the collector community as being something that you could get at Target, but was still like of a very impressive quality. But it seems like they have screwed up so badly with the customer end of things, and they've lost so much good faith with their client base that maybe the roof has fallen in or something. But for some reason, for the last year and a half, they have been dumping product to the point now where it's at Ross. And if you had told me that I could get this stuff a year or two years ago at Ross, I would have been like, no, the NECA stuff you can only get at Target and everything. Ross is where you go to get G.I. Joes and stuff. And now it seems like everything is about to get dumped there, which is great. I love it.
But that's like that's the weird thing with NECA is that a year ago they did the blind boxes, right? Which Tony and I bought blind boxes and they were fucking great. Like I got the horror one, Tony got horror and turtles, like, and they were really well stocked. And we wound up using them for some of our shows and flipping a bunch of the stuff, whatever, because we had a bunch of like repeats. But that's what you expected. I didn't expect like a holy grail in a box, right? I expected to be a bunch of shelf warmers, maybe some stuff I didn't have.
Right.
But even when I was at Toys R Us, like we didn't clearance out NECA. If anything, NECA was at the point where Toys R Us like, oh, we had to clearance it. We had to ship it back to NECA. And that's the same thing Target does. Walmart is a different beast. So that's why when you started seeing some turtles pop up in Ross, it was like movie stuff. It was Walmart NECA product that was popping up in Ross. And I was like, okay, that makes sense because it's Walmart. Once they have it, they can do whatever the fuck they want with it. And if they give it to Ross, then that's what they're doing. But now they got their own like Ross exclusive fucking individual turtles that like nobody it was never announced. I think the Punk ones, one of the sets was hinted at a toy fair or a Comic-Con that they'll eventually have their own individual release. But that was it. It was never after that, it was never mentioned again. It was never shown. It was never even hinted at. Just all of a sudden Ross got them. And now Ross is getting cartoon stuff, which means that they're actually now getting Target stuff, which would say that NECA's now sending it directly to Ross. It's not even coming from Walmart anymore, which now that's really weird.
So that means that internally NECA is recognizing that there's been a shift in their brand name recognition. And I think that they know that they cannot sustain this perception any longer. They've had flop after flop after flop in the turtle line. I hate to say it, but it seems to me like I always say with my collecting, it's like that monologue at the beginning of The Sopranos where he's like, sometimes you come in at the end of things. I feel like I came in at the very end, and to me, NECA seems like something that had a little prestige a few years ago. And when I came into it, it seems to still have a little bit of it. And it seems like internally NECA probably has seen some terrifying numbers with these 4-packs that have like flopped, from the Punk Turtles and then the Punk Turtle 2-packs. Like, whose idea was it to release 8 different Punk Turtles? That's the kind of thinking. And I think that, I don't know about the manufacturing process, but it seems like the runway is so long with these things that they come up with an idea, and like they came up with some of these ideas in like the summer of people reinventing their collections in like 2020 and 2021 and 2022. And they were like, shit, we're selling all kinds of stuff. We should pump out all these variants. And then 2 years later, once they actually hit the shelves, the steam is gone. And then it's clunker after clunker after clunker. They can't hit the brakes because there's so much development that goes into these things. And now they're being like, shit, we've completely ruined our name brand. The Donnie's Lab thing has killed any and all trust. And it wasn't just people refer back to the Donnie's Lab thing, but I remember it also happened with the 4-pack Lawson Turtles and the first Sketch Turtles and all kinds of other things that people would, NECA developed this problem where you order something from their website and it doesn't show up for 9 months, or it does and you don't get the tracking. And it's just like the way that they pissed in everybody's face with the Donnie's Lab thing. I don't think that they're going to come back from that. I think that internally they saw they can't.
See, the thing with the Donnie's Lab, and when that first happened, we had a couple episodes where we discussed that shit, right? Tony, you remember that crap, right?
Yeah, I remember getting mine with no problem. Yeah.
So the one thing that I remember about the Donnie's Lab is that obviously they sent extras to people, right? And then, but I started realizing that a lot of the people were sharing like the same picture, but from different accounts.
Yep.
Which made me start wondering how many people really received double. Or is it just the internet running wild with it, which internet's known to do? So I was like, I wish there was a way to find out what the actual numbers were to see how big of a problem it really was versus what the internet made it seem to be. Because what makes me think it wasn't a lot was the fact that they didn't produce more for the people who lost it. Because if there was like, we need to 5,000 people lost out, they could have contacted the factory to make more. They can't contact the factory and be like, hey, we need you to produce 10 extra ones. We kind of fucked up. Like, that's where I'm like, maybe it wasn't as much as the internet wants us to think it was.
And if I could play devil's advocate for a minute, I mean, there's a lot of criticism here that's valid, right? Like, I have criticism of it as well. Some of the nonsense just recently that I talked to Chris about. I bought the Footbots 2-pack. One of the things was broken. I reached out to NECA and they're like, yeah, you didn't buy it from us. You bought it from Target, so we're not going to replace the part. I'm like, yeah, but it was Haulathon. You didn't have it on your website. And they're like, yeah, we know, but still you just figured it out yourself. But like for the devil's advocate,
NECA motto.
Yeah. For the devil's advocate portion of this though, I'm a huge Nintendo fan, right? And this whole argument seems very reminiscent of the argument that was going on around Nintendo about 6 or 7 years ago when everybody was like, oh man, Nintendo flopped. Actually, now it's more than that. It's back like 2012, 2013 when the Wii U came out. It was a financial disaster. And they're like, that's it for Nintendo. They're insoluble. Like they're not going to recover from this. They're going to go out of business. Microsoft is going to buy them. Sony is going to buy them. And it was just this doom and gloom for 2 or 3 years until Nintendo released the Switch. And then it was like, oh my God, it was this massive hit. And then it turned out that Nintendo had way more money stashed away than anybody ever thought. Nintendo actually had the financial capital to buy Microsoft's Xbox and Sony's PlayStation if they had wanted to. They just never really talked about it, right? And so I wonder how much of this, like Chris said, is the internet running away with it. Because for a company like NECA that's been around for a very long time, I don't know that they're in the financial trouble that people are speculating. This could all be simple things like maybe they're getting ready to move offices again. Maybe they're consolidating distribution sites and they need to shrink the inventory that they already have in their warehouses because they're going to move to a different warehouse, right? And so, hey, guess what, Ross? All this stuff we're sending you, right? All the stuff that Target sent back to us that we store, maybe now we're getting ready to move or do something, and we're just gonna send it to Ross. Do whatever you want with it.
So one thing though that I do absolutely agree with, and I think we've all witnessed to it, is customer service from NECA.
Terrible,
horrible.
Sure.
And I've dealt with them. I mean, I haven't had any like where I need to go get the pitchfork and light it on fire and go after them, but I've definitely gone back and forth with them. More recently has been a nightmare versus in the past it was much easier. But I pointed out at a previous cast that every time I emailed their customer service, the responses I got were like 1 or 2 in the morning, which that tells me that whoever's answering it is overseas. It's not somebody who can even go in the warehouse and go look for my order. It's somebody overseas who then has to email somebody here when they're operating. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a problem because the times that I have had to call NECA and talk to their customer service, golden. My problem is taken care of right away. Refund within. By the time I hung up the phone, I had a refund. Like, it's weird, but NECA had this problem where they want to be a retail store, but they don't know how to be a retail store.
Yeah.
That's I think one of their biggest issues. They need to just stay as a manufacturer, produce the figures, get them out to the stores, and let that be it. Stop trying to be this also retail bullshit because you don't have the customer service and the way of doing it like a Target or anybody else who can actually perform those types of tasks. Like they just don't have that setup, that infrastructure.
Yeah. And I think to Psycho's point, especially making that Nintendo reference, yeah, I don't believe NECA is having financial issues. I mean, especially if they're making like recent acquisitions,
Toys R Us.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they have money issues,
I'm not necessarily saying that they have money issues. I'm talking about because a company like NECA doesn't look at the bank and be like, oh man, we only have $500 left. They look at things quarterly. They look at sales compared to last year and the year before that. And it is undoubtable that toy sales have slumped in the last couple of years. The economy has tanked.
Yep.
People are worried about the cost of groceries.
Yep.
Only us like serotonin addicted autistic nerds are running out buying Wrestler Ninja Turtle 4-packs. And I don't think that they are in trouble of going bankrupt. I think that what it is they see like, look, we've got to scale back. We've got to go into a huge period of contraction. And I think that the smart way to do that would be to liquidate a bunch of product and then go real soft on the releases going forward. Release just enough to justify like the head count that we have within the company so we don't have to lay anybody off.
Sure.
And they're probably trying to avoid that because, look, just like even Haulathon this year was very light. This summer thing that they're having at Target, not much there. And just the releases that they've been coming out with have been pretty soft. So it just seems like they're kind of playing it safe and pulling back because nobody really has the money anymore to be spending thousands of dollars a month on this, not in terms of the general public buying stuff. So I think that internally they're probably just like, we got to trim the fat a little. I don't think that they're in like any financial difficulty. They're owned by a billionaire.
Yeah. And we've talked about this before on the podcast, Tony and Chris specifically. And I think that what we're going to see moving forward, to give a little bit of prediction is I think we're going to see a model like Hasbro kind of piloted a year or so back where it's not a HasLab, but they do pre-orders for figures, right? Like, hey, we're going to produce the pre-order. And I think that what we're going to see as collectors,
like crowdfunding,
is that we are only going to see companies like Hasbro, NECA say, hey, we're going to produce these figures in this wave. You can pre-order the wave or you can pre-order an individual figure. We're going to create to what's pre-ordered. And I think that we're already starting to see those kind of gears and mechanisms in motion at NECA, because if you look over the last 6 months, what they've been doing that they hadn't really done before, which is like what's going on right now on their website. You could buy Splinter, Casey Jones, and Metalhead, right? And if you buy them all together and you bought an extra turtle on top of it, you would get the free shipping. And then they're telling you it's going to ship to you when stores get it as well, right? So it's like the criticism you brought up earlier where you buy things from NECA, which I would buy things directly from NECA as well, so I didn't have to go out and hunt. But then Chris and Tony would have them way before I did because NECA would take their sweet time sending it to the people who bought directly from them. I think that model of business is going to be over. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see NECA say, listen, here's wave 4 of TMNT 2012 with these 4 or 5 figures. Either you buy the wave or you don't buy the wave, and then they send it out to you. I think that they're going to reduce shelf space to things that are actually selling right now, like horror icons or some of the other things, and lines like Ninja Turtles, instead of taking up shelf space in Target, which is also not necessarily feasible because some targets have it, some don't. Nobody knows. The customer gets pissed off. They're going to say, look, buy this wave from us. It ships on such and such a day. Here you go. So that's what I think is going to be happening with that.
Yeah, that last I don't know if it was the last one or was it 2 cycles ago, the last holothon we had. When did the stump one happen? Was that 2 or
2 years?
No, that was not this recent one. The one before.
Yeah.
And then the one after that was the Punks?
Punks was before.
Punks-
that, I think.
Punks was 2024 because Punks happened the year that I got into collecting, which was the spring of 2024.
So when we got to the Stump Turtles, so at the same time Stump came out, we had Slash came out, and then I think that was the same time the Burger King boxes were coming out. Is that right? The Burger King
Yeah,
box bubble?
Possibly.
Yeah.
So those were the only ones that were hard to get, quote unquote, right? The colored Burger King boxes. But those Stump sets and the Slashes, and I think there was a Mondo Gecko for some reason in my brain. I don't know why I'm thinking that. Or it was Leatherhead. I think it may have been like the Archie Leatherhead or something.
There was an Archie Mondo Gecko too.
So they were absolutely shelf warming like crazy at my Target. Like, I mean, just I've never seen so much NECA on the shelves at one time. That was all the same stuff. And I know we kind of like, we used to laugh about it, 4 years ago, maybe it was, where you went hunting and it's like, man, I was hitting a Target every time I passed one. I'm like, I got to stop and see if they have XYZ because it was harder to get the product. And then all of a sudden, NECA just vomits inventory onto the shelves. And now it's no longer the FOMO thing is kind of not gone, but it gets a little lighter, right? It's a little easier to go to the store and a little easier to find it. So people don't have to, hurry up and buy them all at once. So the holothons, instead of being, a $600 ordeal, because let's call it, that's what it was. By the time, if you wanted everything, if you wanted to be a completist, it was, $500-600. And I was one of those people. I would buy everything that came out. And now it's less. There's 2-3 pieces, like you were saying. It's a little lighter on the pocket. And I also think, like, to your point, like most of you guys are already saying, I think they're going to be a little more strategic about what they put out. I do think, though, that they are putting out a lot of older dead stock. Like today, I got the notification, if you're like a premium member or gold member, whatever the hell it is, you can order the mutagen canister. And I got the email, and I'm like, oh, okay, I already have it. But I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me go on there, see what
Gold 9.
it's sold out like immediately. Like I went on the website, it's already gone.
They probably found like a case of 4, and
that's what I'm saying. I'm sure they found like 3 or 4, but I guess kind of like to Psycho's point, if they're in there cleaning out their closets, let's say, right, you're just going to start seeing a bunch of random shit. And if you've noticed in the past 2 months, they've been doing what, right? They've been putting out those things where they're like, while supplies last, get this. While supplies last, get this.
Well, you remember every year they do the vault, right? Where they open the vault.
Basically, but this wasn't vault. This was just while supplies last, get this.
No, I'm saying, but every year they do the vault, though. Around Christmas time, they do the vault where it opens up and there's like, that's where all of a sudden the Django figures popped up for like $1,000 for a set. Like,
NECA, please.
Like, that's where it goes. But part of me wonders, and
that's cute.
Brian Flynn had mentioned this from Super 7, that during COVID, you had a bunch of new collectors. You had the COVID collectors, right?
Yeah,
people that all of a sudden they had a bunch of money because they weren't going out, they weren't allowed to do shit, they had money, and there was a huge jump in sales. Then all of a sudden you had Walmart, Target, everybody's like, yo, we need to get collectibles in these stores, and everything started going crazy. But one thing he mentioned is that those people put their orders in, and they're a year out for those orders.
Yep.
So then you have now a lot of the COVID collectors are dropping off. The stuff is not selling as much anymore, but they have to still get the numbers because the numbers have been in since a year and a half ago, sometimes 2 years before, when the orders were originally made. So Brian Flynn mentioned that you're going to see stuff pop up in Ross, but once you start seeing it, after about a year of that, it's going to die because the stuff is going to be made at such lower rates because the company's they're going to rework their numbers like, hey, we don't need to make this many anymore. We're not selling that. Then all of a sudden, the shit's going to be hard to find again. And it's going to be like, a clusterfuck. We're going to go back to having to fight old women and young kids in the toy aisles.
Yeah, I
Hit
mean,
them in the head.
I agree with you partially, but I just
It
don't.
can never be fully.
No. I mean, because what Chris is saying is 100% correct. The thing I don't agree with is that we're going to be fighting people in the toy aisle. I really do think that we are seeing.
I think that's gone.
I do think that we are seeing the end of that sort of thing, right? Because it takes up space, and I mean, if you're a store, if you're a retail store, and you can have $10 figures on your shelf, and gas is super high, right? Groceries are super high. You know that parents don't have the kind of money to lay down $40-$50 on a figure. You're going to stock the $10 figures. And the argument's going to come up, oh, well, it's not parents buying these for their kids. Awesome. That is 100% true. But that disposable income that people had has now shrunk significantly, and it's only going to continue to shrink. And so, again, if you're a retail store, you're on the losing end of that because you're giving space to something that's not selling. And so you're losing the opportunity to sell other things in there, right? And
Kind of.
Well, it's like
yes, for like Walmart, absolutely.
Target.
No, Target is different because they're a vendor. NECA pays to be in Target. Target doesn't own any of the product. NECA ships it in, their rep puts it out, and then when the sale goes through, Target gets a cut of that sale. So like NECA being there, it's it's space, but they don't have any buck in the game as for having it there. You know what I mean? Like they get it. Like it's taking space, but it's already a collectible space. There's already fucking pops there, and those fucking things don't do anything, right? You already have that section.
Unless
Now
they get rid
NECA's
of the
paying
section.
you to be there. Like it's a little bit different. But Walmart, I agree with you 100%.
What I'm saying, unless they get rid of that space completely. So
People have been saying that for years too.
Well, no. What I'm saying is a lot of stores are talking about like reorganizing and shrinking down, right? Like the stores now that they're building, yes, occasionally you get like a super Target, but oftentimes you're getting these smaller Targets that have much smaller retail space where they're only selling specific things, and that inventory is constantly changing because the landscape is changing. Right. And so again, that's kind of what I'm getting at. I think that we are kind of seeing the end. It's like it's the death gasp, right? Of retail toys as far as collectibles go. I just don't see it staying.
But then like
well, there's
Walmart,
kind of an
there's
kind of an identity crisis there. Like if you are making collectibles that are for collectors to put on their shelves, that's one thing. Or are you making mass manufactured toys to put on the shelf at Target?
Exactly.
And I think you're correct. This is a self-correction. I think NECA does make collectibles for collectors. I really do. I love this stuff. But I think that with that sales bump you were talking about during COVID, all these companies kind of got a little big for their britches. And now we're in Target. And now once you're in Target, you got to justify your shelf space in Target. Well, we need a new 4-pack for next year. Let's do the surfers. It's like that's literally like going to Hawaii is literally jumping the shark. You know what I mean? And we all love the surfer turtles, but do the surfer turtles exist because we want them, or because there needs to be a 4-pack this quarter on the shelf?
But the 4-pack, the surfer turtles, for instance, weren't they just online like NECA store exclusives?
I think
no. You can get the surfer turtles for $130 on Amazon right now with the surfboard. So, like, I think that they were, because when they planned the surfer turtles, they thought people still were gonna go, "Oh, SDCC, we gotta buy 4."
So
I bought them. I mean, I'm one of those guys. I bought them.
If I had the money in space, I'd have bought them.
I thought they were awesome, and I bought them.
So the one thing that I'll give it is this: is that if NECA had gotten the turtle license right now, I don't think we would have the mass scale of figures that we have currently. I think the only reason we're able to get as big of a line and as deep of a line as we've gotten is because of the COVID boom and how sales were just going insane. They're like, yo, we can make it because people are buying it. But if they did it now, I don't think they'd be making half of like Bebop's gang, like those, like we wouldn't be getting any of those characters. We'd get like the main turtles, some of the main villains and the one-off characters who are very popular, like Slash and whatnot, and Leatherhead. Like you wouldn't be getting all the deep cut figures that we've got.
Right. And like when I first came into this, like I was an OG Ninja Turtles kid. I was born in 1984. I played at the arcade. I watched the TV show on cable television or before cable television with the rabbit ears. And when I started collecting, because I didn't start collecting until I was like 40, after I started buying my kids' action figures. And I got jealous of them. And so I started looking into all this stuff because I started with the movie line. I started looking at the Toon line. I'm like, wait a second, Jersey Red and Tall Thug and Short Gangster. Like, who the fuck is all this for? Like, who even is this for? Like that's deep cut shit. That shouldn't be on the shelf at Target. Stuff on the shelf at Target is for people, it's for like the general public. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not saying don't do Jersey Red, but do that as like a website exclusive for like us nerds. You know what I mean? Because the way to tank your company, or not tank your company, but the way to really severely put an ouchie on yourself is to start going, well, you know what? What we need in Target is a esoteric character from the first season of a TV show that came out in 1987. Like Psycho said, leave Ghostface and Freddy Krueger and the four brothers and Shredder and Bebop and Rocksteady to Target. Leave the army builders to Target, and do all the other.
I mean,
the one thing that I really thought that I'm surprised that NECA didn't learn their lesson was with Tatsu. Because the internet was loud. Oh, we need a Tatsu. You have to have it. Okay. NECA surprises. Like, nobody even knew Tatsu was coming. All of a sudden, it appears in a store. People think it's fake because NECA had never even announced it. Then, the first 3 weeks, it went crazy. People were going nuts. Then after that, shelf formed. Fucking hard.
Clearance everywhere.
Because,
yeah, $8.
If you get a Tatsu, how many Tatsu do you need? You know what I'm saying?
No, but the point is that you had everybody's loud, and we're making these sales. And for anybody who's collecting like the movie line, that is a pivotal character you need for your movie display.
Yeah,
and it's shelf form. So then, why the hell would they think doing, like I said, Jersey Red and Short that where those are going to sell so much better than Tatsu, who is a pivotal? Like, I feel like that should have been their sign. Like, hey guys, you know what? Maybe we need to readjust our character selection a little bit in the future to not do some of these crazy ones that are probably gonna fucking tank.
I mean, to be honest, I remember the Target here. We didn't even have it. I asked Weezy to go find it at his Target because he had some for a while over there. But then, or no, it was Walmart. Yeah,
it was Walmart. I was going to correct you, but yeah,
Walmart. Even he couldn't find them at Walmart for a while. Then all of a sudden, they were everywhere, and they were like being clearanced. So I was like,
there's pictures of people that have like 50 of them on one shelf, like of just Tatsu, like an end cap. Like,
to be honest, that Shredder, we had when they did the what was the Dracula Shredder? It was the same thing. We had two versions of it.
Why do we need 3 of those?
And what is it? 1 or 2?
It's the same thing. It's like we don't need 3 of them. What we need is to please our corporate contracts. We need to make Walmart happy. We need to make Target happy. Oh, here 3 colorways, and now we got nerds chasing 3 different figures, and it seems to work on paper, but it runs up again. Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm one of the nerds.
I've got 2 of them.
You have to practically think how many human beings in the country of America want a plastic figure of the character. I did. I think it's one of the best figures that came out that year. It's one of my favorite NECA movie figures, and it's like a beautiful figure with the soft goods and everything. And
oh yeah,
I love that thing. I love it to death. But like, how many people are like me? And that butts up against what numbers do you have to do to justify a mass manufactured product?
And I think they did it right. Like when it came to Danny, right? Make him part of that Loot Crate exclusive. Like do it that way.
Back to that shit.
Yeah.
Right. First of all, I didn't fucking want Danny, but I'm a completist on that for that. So I had to fucking do that, and I got Danny. And then that's where you get a lot of these people, because people seen it, where like, oh, we need they want them to make Danny's dad. Like, nobody fucking wants that. But you got these fans who do want it. I always tell you, in the Ghostbuster world, there's people who like, oh, we want the over enthusiastic Ghostbuster fan that has like the Ghostbuster. He's yelling in the background, like, we want that redhead. Like, nobody wants that. But some assholes do. But I don't know why some of these companies listen to those assholes and they started making them. And it's like, what the hell are we doing? Nobody wants. The only thing that I get when it comes to Turtles now, especially with the Toon line or the Toon line and the comic line, is the new characters that they haven't done already. Some new mutant, whatever, I'll get those. I don't get any of the variants. I don't do any of that shit. I don't need 10 versions of Casey Jones. Like, no. I need one of each representation and then all the new mutants or whatever they're popping out. That's how I keep myself from going crazy like Tony and buying every goddamn thing anymore.
To be honest, the only movie line figure I still want is a
Vanilla Ice.
That's it. Like, and my collection is fine without it. But if they're gonna make another figure, it kind of needs to be Vanilla Ice at this point, right? Like, have Vanilla Ice, have like a little microphone or something to come with him. Like, I don't care. Just get the Vanilla Ice out there and say, guess what, guys? Congratulations, the movie line is complete.
Years ago, I would have put like money on Vanilla Ice coming out because Vanilla Ice was at either New York or Comic-Con or San Diego or New York Comic-Cons at the NECA booth signing autographs for fans and shit. Like, he was set up there for the con. So I'm like, oh, we have to be getting a fucking Vanilla Ice figure soon. Never happened.
That's a financial thing, though, wasn't it? Like, they can't pay him enough for the likeness or something?
Yeah, apparently, yeah. Something about he wants too much money or something. Because, he's just got so much going on. He's got to go do a concert with, like, Kid Rock or something, so.
What's funny is that he's got plenty of money. Like, he's not... He not only does he make royalties off of his nostalgic stuff, but he's been like a house flipper for like 20 years. He like professionally does it and does it apparently very well. So he's like set. It's probably just I don't know. Is it just an ego thing? Like, what's up with that?
It has
I'm going to say more of an ego than anything. Because
go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say more of an ego thing. I think is like you said, to your point. I mean, people don't realize he was in a hardcore band too. Like he's had multiple ventures that have substantiated money for him. So the man is not broke by any means. And he's an icon, right? It's like MC Hammer, he's just an icon of that era. And I do think it's an ego. I think he knows that these little nerds will pay anything to get me in a figure from this movie. And until NECA pays me what I'm looking for, I'm not doing it.
I don't think it's an ego thing for him. I think he knows that he's only going to get like one.
Yeah, that's a one and done.
Right. He's like, and so he wants to make the most of it because he's a businessman, right? Like he's obviously asking too much, but he knows he's a businessman. It's not like, oh, I'll buy another house and do it again. It's like, I got one figure, right? I got one chance to sell this likeness to be used, and it's never going to happen again. And so
I think you get two out of it.
I don't think you get two out of it. I think you
get a San Diego Comic-Con set with him and the 4 turtles in a stage set, and then you could throw them out in a single pack release, Ultra Mint in store. I think you can get 2.
You would get a single set, and then you get a 4-pack, but it would be him and the 3 dancers.
I was gonna say you need to have the dancers too. I mean, come on, hello. We gotta get the most out of the molds.
Just generic people.
A 2-pack of the 2 guys that look alike, and he's like, he likes it.
Yes.
But like actors are known to do that shit because that's what the problem NECA was having with Aliens to do the rest of the Marines is that some of the actors were like, yo, we want XYZ amount, and they wanted substantial amounts that NECA wasn't ready to pay for because I guess they wouldn't see that they could make the money back from it, which if they have those numbers, then that's their business decision. But it only makes sense if you don't want to spend too much.
I mean, and as a collector, like I guess I've never been as serious as Chris and Tony because I used to go to the stores in the very beginning, and when I didn't find anything, I'm like, the hell with this. If one of my buddies finds it, I'll ask them to pick it up and I'll pay them, or I'll wait for NECA to put it online. So I was one of those people that I'd buy it from NECA, I'd wait the 8 months, 9 months until I eventually got it. And to be honest, I'm excited for the idea that maybe NECA starts pulling these things out of the stores and making them online, pre-orders, because maybe then we'll get some of the things that I wanted that I know that they will never make and release in stores. Like everybody's going crazy recently for some reason about that stupid tall Krang android body. I didn't think that thing was ever coming out. Like it's too big, but it's cool looking. And so if that was something online that was a pre-order, I would definitely take a look at it. I probably wouldn't be able to afford it, but it's definitely something I would be trying to convince myself that maybe I needed to support.
That damn Krang, man. When they first showed that thing, they literally said that this is just a display piece. But if people are, with all the attention it's gotten, we will, price it out and see if it's feasible to do.
You think it'd be
But at the same
149 or 199?
Well,
think
I
it'd be
remember, I
250.
swear when they first had it, that people were saying like, "Oh, that thing is huge. It's like almost 3 feet tall, this and that." But when you see the pictures of it, it's next to one of the dioramas, the street
Yeah,
scene
it's like
dioramas, and
24
that's only
inches, I think.
18 inches. So
Yeah.
he's got to be roughly 20, maybe 22 inches tall. He's a little taller than that thing, which is about the size of a quarter scale xenomorph. So it's not like it's insanely sized. So the price wouldn't be too crazy, probably around the 150 mark, if this keeps in scale with what they're already producing around the quarter scale figures. But they just gave that whole thing and then it just disappeared. Like they stopped bringing it to shows. They never brought it up again. Apparently, recently at New York Toy Fair, somebody had asked about it and they said they're still, it looks like it's going to be priced out too much, like the 300 mark. And it's like, that would probably be a big problem. Try to get that thing for $3. I think a lot of people would sit there and fucking rot.
I think
Yeah, I mean, because they would try to put all the accessories with it. They would try to do all this stuff, and it would. That's why I thought it'd be closer to 250 than the 150. But I mean, maybe we could get a freaking glider for the blimp, or one of the other things I really wanted them to make. It used to be one of my favorite vehicles on the original toy line, the Cheapskate. Like the Cheapskate would be an awesome thing to have with these NECA figures.
But was it ever in the cartoon?
It was.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
then they should do it.
Not the second version that Playmates put out with the turtle head in the front of it, but the original version.
With the foot.
Yeah. Well, because the other one had the foot too, but it had that little like yellow square in the front. But then Playmates released a second version that had the turtle head in the front instead of the yellow square. But the yellow square version was in the cartoon show a couple times.
Yeah, it looked like the toy in the show.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it would be awesome for them to do that, and I'm surprised they never did that. That would probably be like an $80 figure or an $80 vehicle, right? Like you could do it. It shouldn't be that difficult. It just I don't know.
Well, I have the somewhere. I have that third party company, the same people who made the what do you call it? The van. They made the third party Mousers, and then they made. Do you guys remember that? And then
I
from
do not
Show Z,
remember that, no.
so they made the third party Mousers and they made the third party Cheapskate. I just don't know what I did with it.
Oh, you're talking about Joy Toy?
No, it wasn't Joy Toy.
You sure?
Yeah, it was another company, third party company. And I ordered them for Show Z, and I don't know where the hell it is. It's going to be in a box somewhere. I've just got shit everywhere, but
Sounds like you, Tony.
it's wherever the third party company made that van.
Probably never opened it.
No, I opened the van. Because the van got sent just in a brown box, so I was like, that's stupid. So the van was the one. I don't know if you guys saw. Like it was that in between size. People call it like the perfect van. And like they liked it better than the
Okay, yeah, I do remember that. It had the lights and stuff too, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
they made a Cheapskate and a set of Mousers. And the Mousers had like little metal legs and everything. And then the Cheapskate, I don't know what the hell I did with it, but I have that too somewhere.
You have a lot, Tony.
Yeah.
You're gonna die in there one day.
Probably.
It's just gonna
I'm
topple on you.
wondering where the hell it is. I'm
This
like,
happens a lot. Tony forgets what he buys and he just kind of looks around aimlessly looking for
I'm
stuff.
just looking for the box, like hoping I know it's
And
somewhere.
then you see times where he looks around, he's like, "Holy shit, I have that!" And he'll be like, "What the hell is this?"
Oh, it's one of the Mousers. Hold on.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what's going on because I mean, a lot of people obviously are speculating that Mattel is going to be the problem and it's going to cause NECA to lose the license. Which the only thing that I see against that is that no other company has said anything. Like there's more than one company making turtle figures. There's more than NECA. You know, you have the McFarlanes, you have Mondos, you have Joy Toys that are officially licensed. Like you have a bunch of officially licensed turtle toys coming out, and nobody's saying anything about those companies losing the license. Everybody online's like, "Oh, NECA's losing it. NECA's losing it," but nobody else is doing it because you'd think that if Mattel's gonna be like, "Hey, nobody can make toys," they're gonna mean nobody can make toys, so everybody's gonna lose the license. Except for maybe Mondo because of how big their scale is and price point. But like,
Well, if it's just different enough, right? I would assume like third-party Transformers. If they can do something just different enough, they're not really violating the license. They might get a hey, that's a likeness, but they're not going to get a. They couldn't, I guess, get a full-on cease and desist because
No,
if
but
it's
you-
just different enough.
No, but remember, with like Mondo and all of them, it's licensed product, right? Like it's actually like they have contracts.
I don't
So,
think Joy Toy does though, do they?
I mean, if they have, I thought they had the actual turtle logo and everything on there with the Knicks logo. Maybe not. Maybe I could be wrong about Joy Toy. I could have sworn they were officially licensed though.
No, they do, but I don't see a trademark on it.
Doing a quick online search, whether or not this is real or not, I don't know, but it says something about the reason that NECA hasn't produced many vehicles for the Turtles line is
They're
because
fucking big.
Huh?
They're fucking big.
Well, no, it's because apparently their licensing with Nickelodeon only covers the figures. That they have to get special licensing for each vehicle that they want to use, and the only licensing that they've gotten was for the turtle van because they felt that it was necessary. Like you got to have the turtle van, but other than that, they had to have a special licensing agreement with Playmates because Playmates helped in the design of all of the vehicles for the show.
I mean, that's
So
possible.
NECA paid a bunch of money to Playmates in order to make a turtle van, and they didn't want to do that to do the blimp or the cheapskate.
Maybe if that's the case. Fuck them.
But then it also mentioned the third party thing that Tony was talking about. Of course, I couldn't find a picture of it, but they said it was Sewer Speeder is what it was called in 2022. And it was bundled alongside a 2-pack of Mouser figures.
So, but when it comes down to like Mattel, because like I don't see why Mattel would be pissed or anything because according to the reports, they're going to be releasing product based on the new movies and the new cartoons and shit coming out, right? So then what does it matter if they're doing the classic stuff if you're doing this, right? So I don't see why Mattel would care. Like, if they plan on doing original cartoon stuff, then, all right, yeah, we need to get rid of the competition, which would be NECA. So it's like I said, it's just weird that nobody's speculating that anybody else is losing a license except for NECA. Like, they're the only one everybody's saying is losing the license because of Mattel also, which is strange.
But it's coinciding with this huge liquidation that I think is getting people a little
Which,
squirrely.
that's
you know what I mean?
fair. Absolutely fair. They're not liquidating Mondo out for $50. I'd be all over that shit.
Yeah, they're not. I think the thing is, like, you know. By the way, it's sold out obviously, but this is the skate and the
That's cool.
And the Mouser, and it does scale with the it scales with the regular, you know, NECA turtles or whatever perfectly fine. But
Hold up.
I think.
Sorry, I got distracted there. Is that the World Cup Prime right there?
Jesus Christ.
You scroll down.
Yeah, it's the World Cup Prime. I'm glad.
Oh, that looks ugly. Never mind.
Well, yeah, it's a Transformer. What do you expect?
So, but I guess I'll give it this. NECA's also not squashing any rumors. You've not seen any notifications from NECA saying we're still here. You know, we're not close. Get used to it. Whatever it is on South Park. But they're not squashing anything, man. They're just, you know, just in the quiets, I guess, while their community is babbling like crazy. And you know, I mean, Dolan's in a couple of groups, right? Gary Dolan. And you would have thought at some point Gary would have said, "Hey guys, listen, I can't talk too much about it, but we're still here. Relax, you know, something." But he's not, and he's been quiet. And I'm part of the groups he's in, and I haven't seen the man talking about it. Now, unless I'm missing something.
They may have
No,
told
you
him
think
not to
that
say a
you
goddamn
think
thing.
Dolan didn't get the phone call from Mossad at 3 a.m. Dolan, you tell him about the Ninja Turtles, we'll break your fucking kneecaps.
That's
You think that he didn't get that phone call?
I mean, that's not the phone call that Mossad would make. That would be the phone call they'd make from Jersey, right? Like,
Right.
NECA's headquartered in New Jersey.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're not kneecapping you and from the top. That's for sure.
We say all the turtles.
But like,
But no, yeah, like it does seem like word would hit the street eventually, but there's all kinds of squirrely stuff. NECA's very cagey. They don't talk.
If there's any
because
truth,
they used to, and they got fucking their life threatened all the time.
I mean, if there's any truth to what I just read, that kind of would make sense about the lawsuit that Playmates is filing and everything else, right? Like if Playmates owns a significant portion of the figure and vehicle designs, right? Then how could another company then come in and buy the license for those things that Playmates helped design, right? Like, so then
Yeah.
if Mattel came in and decided, hey, we're going to do the 87 line, does that mean there's figures that they wouldn't be able to make, and then vehicles they wouldn't be able to make?
So yeah, because we were discussing this before everybody hopped on too. Was that if this lawsuit, if you have the characters that Mattel, or I'm sorry, that Playmates created, that eventually became the toy line, may have been in a comic book or the show at some point, would those be the hiccups? Is that what they're suing for? What they're going to try and go to, getting a lawyer for those rights to those characters?
Yeah.
Because I don't think Playmates has any ground to be like, oh, we're suing for Ninja Turtles because Ninja Turtles isn't owned by them. They just had the license to make them, but they did design a lot of characters and things that did get used. So I'm wondering if that's where this problem is. And like,
you can
Rob was
also
saying-
make a legal argument that if it wasn't for Playmates, Ninja Turtles wouldn't have the sort of capital that it has today.
oh yeah, nobody can sit there and say that Playmates had no hand in the success, right? Like,
Very
Like-
true.
Not to mention
Playmates is part of the building blocks for Turtles. Like,
Not
they're
even-
there.
that they mostly
They had me buying the same toys for the last 40 years. They've had me buying the same toys for the last 40 years.
I mean, and again, not to mention that they didn't fund the majority of the cartoon, right? Like when Playmates got the line, when they got the license, they're like, "Hey, we want to sell toys, but we're gonna have to make a cartoon." And so, again, it's a very interesting dynamic there because as collectors, we don't know all the in and outs of what's going on, and so if there's truth to this idea that they own the likeness to the turtle van, the likeness to the cheapskate, the turtle blimp, and all these things, how then would they be able to be separated from that and that to continue? So it's kind of like, did they say, guess what? Well, now you can't make any of these things with the exception of these few things from the original toy line, right? And the original cartoon, and now we're only going to get whatever moving forward. Like, is this the end of the classic Turtles?
But that could be why Mattel's they said that they're making stuff off of the new media, right? Because they're not going for the old media. For probably that's one of those specific reasons. It's just I don't know if what we're running into also. I mentioned earlier is that like we ran into with the Friday 13th and the Jason movie and the Nightmare on Elm Street movies when they all went to a legal problem that ensued with the courts. All production of figures from NECA stopped. NECA couldn't make anything.
Yeah.
So they were on freeze. So I'm wondering if NECA's preparing for something like that happening here as well. Like they're kind of quiet because, hey, this is about to be a problem. We've already gone through this with Friday, Nightmare, Alien, Predator. Like a bunch of our lines have gone through these freezes. Are we about to go through another one with Turtles because of this bullshit?
Yeah.
I think we're going to really get the information. We might not get the exact details, but we'll have a better feeling of what's going on at Comic-Con. If we go to Comic-Con and there's nothing new from Turtles, I think either they're done or they're at least frozen, that they can't even show shit.
I'm not going to be upset if all of a sudden they're like, we're done with Toon Line, right? We can't make anything else. We're not going to make anything else. I'm not going to cry about it. It'd be cool to have a couple of the figures, a couple of the vehicles, but I don't need any more figures from the Toon Line because, like Dan was saying earlier, everything that's coming out is, who was that character? What episode were they in? I don't even know who that is. And at this point, I'm buying just to buy as a completist. That's the only reason I'm buying these characters.
I don't care if the Toon Line gets canceled, but there are two more figures that I genuinely want, and Chris and I have talked about one, and he thinks it's stupid. But there are two Toon figures I genuinely want. I want the two main villains from the Red Sky seasons. I want Tempestra, and I want Lord Dreg, and that's it. I don't care about all their underlings. I don't care about the whatever. I forget what Lord Dreg called his soldiers that were like replacements for the foot soldiers. I don't care about those. But if you've made the definitive turtle line to leave out the main villains from like seasons what is it, 8, 9, and 10, to just leave out those two main villains, that's a problem for me, right? It's like make Tempestra, make Lord Dreg, stick it in a 2-pack, be fucking done.
But we don't have those turtles, and they do look different. But we don't.
They look a little angrier. Their eyes are a little like their eyes and their facial features are a little pointier. But I mean, they're essentially the same thing. They're just a little bit. They're just a little bit darker.
Careful now. Careful.
Head sculpts. Throw in some head sculpts.
That could be said for 90% of the fucking line they've made.
But again, like the difference isn't as.
She's got a new hat. It's Malibu Stacy.
No. Like the difference isn't as crazy as the all green turtles and the darker turtles, right? Like when you look at the Red Sky turtles, most of the difference is in the angles on their face. Like they're usually were not laughing and smiling, right? So you had the scowl or the straight face instead of the smile. Even Michelangelo, and the bandanas looked a little more. They looked a little sharper, right? To just because there was lots of points.
Right. It wasn't just a little set of rabbit ears hanging off the back.
Yeah, and so I don't know that you need those depictions.
They'd make them though.
You don't need those depictions, but you do need those two villains. You need them.
I don't think you'll get those villains, Psycho, if they're not going to make the turtles themselves. Unfortunately, I just don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll stop. I think they're getting as obscure and obnoxious, quite frankly, as they can get with the original line, the original seasons. I guess everybody knows about before that. Everybody knows about. I watched that series through and through, and I can't remember half the characters they're releasing right now.
Yeah,
This might be a hot take, but NECA can stop all their turtle line except for the 2012. Like, get rid of all turtles. Like, end up, like there's not much more you can do in movies, right? Movies are done.
We don't. I know it's not popular opinion, but we're missing a lot from the third movie.
We don't fucking need that. That movie sucks.
It can
Like,
suck
what
all
else
lots of
do you
stuff.
Whoa. Only your adult mind thinks that movie sucked.
No,
Your judgment is clouded. Go back to your childhood, man. That shit was awesome.
no. When I was a child, I said that movie sucked.
There's no Shredder.
You said you were born in '84. I'm born in '84. I'm telling you, when that movie came out,
Well, yeah, it's true.
it
By the
sucked.
time it came out, Turtle Mania was kind of over. I admit that I give that movie grace in retrospect because I almost love the turtles. I almost love the turtles more now than I did when I was a kid.
I will say this.
So I treat the third movie like the sort of the child who didn't develop as well as the other two.
When
I love them.
NECA started
That one
making
special kid.
figures, and they did the first 4-pack of the movie Turtles, then they eventually did the second movie 4-pack. I was excited for the third movie. The movie sucked, but I knew they would knock out the costumes, and the samurai suits would look amazing, and they do. The NECA figures are completely bonkers. I love those figures. Movie's trash. There is no other character from that movie I need. You're gonna give me some sumo wrestlers, samurais in their underwear? Like, no, I don't need that.
That's actually the first NECA King review is one of the movie 3 2-packs, and I'm doing it on my dirty workspace at my butcher shop. Not with the meat, but like in my office. I'm like a dirty office with the cat like laying on the table and everything. Because the NECA King channel was originally supposed to make fun of unboxing videos, right? It was supposed to be a fucking parody channel, okay? And I remember saying in that like how typical it is for collecting that the best figures for the turtles are coming from the worst movie, because they are really fantastic figures. Like
they are.
the
They're
costumes
amazing.
look great.
But I mean,
You'd like-
imagine if NECA had used the actual suit design from the movie. It would be terrible. The only reason those figures look good is because they used the Jim Henson body, and then they put the characters on it. And it was like, because I remember the very first thing I noticed seeing the third Turtle movie in theaters was I was like, why do they look like that? Because the costumes were so terrible.
The eyes are just like
Yeah.
But like, I feel NECA could stop their movie lines because, like I said, there's nothing else you need. People want Vanilla Ice, and there's you can
Never gonna
nitpick
happen.
background characters like they do for Star Wars in the Cantina scene, right? But you don't need anything else. Cartoon, it could be done. And you want the last two villains, I could see why people would want that, but for me, I don't need it done. Cartoon done. Ronin, you can still give me some Ronin figures from like the new story they're doing. Cool.
Those should be done.
We also need
But-
Hiroto.
But the 2012 cartoon, I think they should just fucking drop everything and focus on that and run with it because there's so much there that they can do, and I would buy every single goddamn one of them except for the variants of the turtles. Because fuck that.
I don't know. I would get one of the variant turtle sets. I don't remember what season it's from, but remember when they have those like it's not ninja, it's not samurai, but like they're in the forest and they have all the fighting gear on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think that NECA would do those figures really well. I'd probably get those. The rest of the variants, though, no.
But yeah, just focus on that. I think
No, not those.
wrong Tony. Bad Tony. But yeah, I think that's what they need to do. Just stop with the turtles and just focus on 2012 turtles and let that be it. And just run with that until something better can come along. It's like that. I think they've really done it all. And like I said, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel now. Like, what the fuck else can we make?
I'm
They're basically
excited
they're basically going into Playmates territory, where it's just variant after variant of the turtles. We're gonna get sports turtles. We're gonna get military turtles. Like, they just keep doing fucking variants now. Based on
Like, what's stopping them from doing a couple of extra accessory kits over here? You know what I mean? Like, I'd buy another accessory kit, like if it had the right kind of shit in it. I'd buy a Mirage accessory kit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could hammer out a couple of accessory kits, put a little cherry on top of some of these lines. But yeah, for a lot of how long have they been making this shit? They've been making it for like damn near a decade.
17, I think, is when they started. They had back in 2008. They had the
2008,
original
yeah.
Mirage,
Yeah.
but I think they started the new run like around the 17 mark.
Yeah, at some point you just kind of get, and it sucks for the company because you've got people to feed. But at some point you got to say, like, look, like we made one of the greatest Ninja Turtle toy lines in history. It will go down as that.
They absolutely have.
And like, yeah, at what point can you make more? I mean, you could make more, but you have to be financially viable. I mean, personally, I'd like them to flesh out the arcade line. I would like them to make the rest of the arcades. Because Turtles in Time is one of my favorite things. But who gives a shit? Like, nobody's going to buy that, you know?
Yeah, because they put all the arcade stuff on hold. All the video game ones, they put them on the back burner and brought in the comic stuff real quick.
Yeah.
Well, Loyal Subjects picked it up and they did all right with it, but that's about it.
This is what I was talking about, Tony. It should pop up.
Oh, I thought that's when they were playing. They were LARPing. It's the LARP turtles.
No. The LARP turtles are different. This is different. This is the Vision Quest turtles, and some of them have these like this is a bone mask, and Raphael's got the things coming down. From
yeah.
Like
I know what you're talking about.
I don't know if you, but like you can see here.
Yeah.
The,
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. The LARP is where one's dressed like an elf, another one's a magician. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
But like the Vision Quest turtles, those would be awesome. I would buy those variants. I thought they looked awesome.
I mean, I like.
I'll say this: the
series is great.
Yeah, the 2012. Like, again, getting into this stuff as an adult, I hadn't touched any of the Ninja Turtles properties since the third movie or the '87 cartoon. Like, when I hit puberty, I was off to the races. I wasn't fucking watching that shit anymore.
Yeah,
and then when I had kids again, I was like, holy shit, they made like 5 different Ninja Turtle cartoons and they're like all awesome. You know what I mean?
All of them.
But I never well, no, not all of them. Not all of them. But one of the things I liked 2012, but I didn't like the way that they looked. Like, I didn't like the animation, the weird Toy Story animation. But when the figures came out, I was like, holy crap, like they look and feel great. And I had to wrestle with myself because I'm like, I don't have any nostalgia for that particular era of the Turtles, but those figures look so good that I think I'm just gonna buy them, and I did, and they're right here. My whole place is a mess right now. I'm like reorganizing the whole place. That's why it looks like shit. But like how the hell did they bring this to life so well? Like, and on one hand, you're like, wow, NECA, you do such good work. And on the other hand, you're like, you're such a shitty company.
Well, part of
I understand why everyone hates you.
Part of the reason there is because they were able to get the 3D files from Nickelodeon. So they didn't have to sculpt those. So they're able to get the actual files from them
brought them
And
over.
produce. Yeah.
They look so much better in actual space.
Yes.
And I feel that show looks very flat and disinteresting. And then when I see like especially the Shredder, like that's one of my favorite Shredder figures. It's just so imposing and cool looking. And
Have
I think
you watched
the
that
cartoon kind of looks so goofy.
The actual cartoon, that whole series?
I haven't watched the whole season. I've watched parts of it, and I actually did a stop motion animation to one of the fight scenes when I first got these figures on my channel. But I actually really want to sit down and watch the whole thing. It looks good.
There's some really good fucking episodes in that show.
Like story wise, it looks great. And I'll say this: I love the voice actor for Donatello much better as Donatello than as Raphael.
Yeah, and
works so much better.
I don't want to speak for anybody but myself, but I will say that as much nostalgia as I have for the '87 show, I personally think that the 2012 Turtles are probably the best representation of the characters that we have gotten.
Well, the '87 show is dog shit. When I watched it again after, hold on, hear me out. When I watched it again after so many years, I was like, what the fuck was I so excited about? Like that first season is amazing. And then after that, it is just like Creature of the Week nonsense. And it's fun, but it didn't have like the weight that I remember it having. All the weight came from the movies for me.
I've said several times that when I think back, I try to watch back the original cartoon. I must have as a kid only watched like that short movie they did for when it first started. Because I can't remember anything else after that. I'm like, I don't remember ever seeing this shit.
I remember I was amazed at how little I remembered. Yeah. And I was a fucking turtle fanatic as a kid. I dressed up as Raphael like 3 times when I was a kid. It was just from 1987 until like 1990, till Batman Forever and Independence Day came out and knocked Ninja Turtle and Power Rangers and knocked Ninja Turtles off of my my radar.
It's like I watched that part of the cartoon, that movie, and I loved it. And then I had the toys, and I must have everything else. My memory from Turtles must have been strictly toy related, and just my own memory and the things
and
I
the
did.
Video games,
toys, and then the video games eventually, yeah. But like
the video games, I played a lot of.
I have watched all of the show. Like I watched the whole '87 show, all 10 seasons of it with my daughter. Over the last like 2 years because she really likes Ninja Turtles and she's young. And so a lot of it is very corny. A lot of it is like, okay, it's just standard kids fare, but there are some really good episodes here and there. Obviously the first 6 are amazing. And then the second season is also very good. The third season, it kind of goes down and it has it just like a wave. It just goes. Some are good, some are bad. The only one I haven't watched all the way through now, that's on my list, is the 2003 show, just because that was significantly darker, and I don't want my daughter watching it. But she and I watched all the '87 show, and then we watched all the 2012 show together. So
I think
I watched some of 2003. It's pretty badass. Sorry.
I think no, you're good. I was going to say, Chris, I think the reason you remember the toys more than probably you remember the show is the toys came out exponentially faster than the figures hit the show, because it was a feeding frenzy of we can't get shit out fast enough. Kids want more figures. They want more characters. Even if they haven't seen them on the show yet, they just want more people for their turtles to interact with.
Correct.
And so we didn't get, I'm making up numbers here, so don't quote me on anything. Out of 200 characters, we got maybe 15 that actually made it to the screen, 15 or 20. The rest were just made for the sake of having figures for kids to play with. So if you spent more time playing with figures and you're like, oh, I don't remember that from the show, I don't remember this from the show, whatever, probably really don't remember it because it didn't happen in the show. It was just
and also
a figure that was made after the fact.
Well, no, what I don't remember from the show is actually watching the episodes. Like, I don't remember these episodes, like actually watching them. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Like, I think my childhood is mainly based on the video games and toys. And then that first 6 episodes of the cartoon is actually where my turtle love stayed and has been. But,
and I think we, in the age of streaming, take for granted how few episodes of these shows we probably even saw when we were kids. Because I have to explain to my son, no. You couldn't just hit pause. Like, they broadcast a signal that played a show, and it was interpreted by your television screen. And if you were watching it while they were playing it, you watched it, and then if you missed it, it was over. And I think that we live in an age now where we can binge our favorite show. And back in the day, like how many episodes of Ninja Turtles did we actually see? Probably more than other shows, but like
I feel like I probably watched that damn music concert more than I watched the actual cartoon. And that was horrible.
yeah, whatever you had on VHS is what you actually watched.
And when you did
Because
get
you only
shows,
Yeah, some of the Burger King cartoon tapes. Yeah, some of those.
when you did get the shows on TV, were they even in any kind of order? You didn't know,
Right.
like, you didn't know how they happened, what order you're supposed to like. Whatever was on TV, you were watching it. And I think a lot
Right.
of us, to Chris's point, kind of created our own headcanon, right? You get the figure on the back of the card, you get the little bio thing telling you a little bit about the figure, so in your head, you're like, okay, well, this is a bad guy, and like this is how he got changed,
Yep.
so the Turtles must have done this. And so you make up your own stories in your head,
yeah.
and that's it.
And I think that like, and also like there's when we watch media now, we watch it with like crouched over the screen with the bowl eating, and we're like focused on it. You think about how you were watching it in '87 with your siblings running around, smacking each other on the head. You dropped something, you spilled something, your dad's yelling, you know what I mean? The dog's barking. You really, we weren't as focused watching. And then also,
We were actually outside.
yeah, like you'd go run around outside. But then also, like, I think you're right about just like sometimes we filled in the gaps with like the card from the figure, because there will be characters that I say to my son, like Muckman. Oh, dude, I love Muckman. I love Wingnut and Screw Loose. I say I love Wingnut and Screw Loose, and he goes, "Is Wingnut and Screw Loose a bad guy?" And I'm like, well, fuck me if I remember. I don't know. I just thought the toy was really cool. Like, was Wingnut and Screw Loose a bad guy? They were, if in my imagination I had them fighting the turtles. But if in my imagination they were fighting alongside the turtle. So you're right. I think that like a lot of the DNA we fill in the gaps with, because we just didn't actually consume the media as closely as we do now.
Yeah, as a kid, like my rule was obviously Shredder, Bebop, Rocksteady, Krang, and Baxter were the bad guys, right? And then after that, the toys that I liked were good guys, and the ones I didn't give a shit about were the bad guys.
Yes.
So a lot of those figures when they came out, the only reason they're classified under one section or another was how many bad guys do we have right now, how many good guys do we have, and it really came down to color palette. So if you had a brighter colored character and they were at that range where it's like we need another good guy, that became a good guy. And if it was like, well, this guy's a little bit darker, we can just make him a bad guy. It's no big deal. So to your point about the Screw Loose, that was technically a bad guy, but just made it into the good guy line because at the time the number of figures they had made.
Yeah. The thing is, I remember there was one or two where they were listed on the back as something, but when they hopped up in the show, they were the opposites.
Well, because they always did that cliche thing where, oh, there's a misunderstanding and you think that you're doing the right thing, but you're really not. And then then they would resolve that so they would become good at the end, but it would justify the fighting for the whole episode until the end, like, oh wait, we've been manipulated.
Oh, until they both say Martha and they stop fighting? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Why did you say that to her? But yeah, it's like when my son asked me to look up the story of Muckman, right? And I find out that Muckman is like this tragic character.
Oh.
You know what I mean? With and it's like, holy shit, Muckman and Joe Eyeball are like these like tragic characters that start off as bad guys, and then it's like, wow, some of these characters are so much cooler than like when you actually learn their story. It's like, well, I've always loved Muck. I've loved Muckman since 1988. All right,
yeah, Mutagen Man was another one that was horrible. That was
Yeah, he's like
Mutagen Man was so weird.
Pretty much screaming like "Help me!" and he's in this like vat of mutagen. His body's just like in pieces everywhere,
melting.
Oh, and Shredder's just like, "Oh shit, we lost another one." It's probably fine. Yeah, that's crazy. But I guess back to like there's so many good points you guys are making regarding NECA and whatnot. But if Mattel does kibosh everybody, let's say they do, they just kibosh everything. What do we think the future for Turtles is going to be? Because the third party,
bleak.
Yeah. So do you think if NECA gets pushed away and NECA has to like regroup and say, okay, fuck it, we're just doing, horror characters, right? Figures and whatever else they want to put out, I guess, with those licenses. So of course you wouldn't have any more loyal subjects. Yeah. You wouldn't have any more McFarlane.
So not a bad thing.
No shit. I'm already not upset if the two of those go away. Now, Joy Toy, I'd hate to see that go away because they're doing some really cool things. And I think they could keep making some really badass figures. But it is what it is. And then, like, one of you was saying Mondo, but you were saying the license probably wouldn't get touched there because of the scale.
No, you see that in some companies, like, because they're so much out of price point, they wouldn't be a competition for Mattel. Because Mattel is not making, 1/6 scale, $200 action figures. Like,
well, to that
anything
point,
that's
though,
going to be in a toy store, possibly on a shelf around that same price point, though, hey, you're in our wheelhouse. Get the fuck away.
So what's Mattel charging right now for one of their most expensive toys, not collectible figures?
Well, Masters of the Universe, I guess, would be in
So
the
those are what,
20s.
27?
Some wrestlers are in the 30 mark.
Are they $30? I don't know shit about wrestling.
Yeah,
toys.
they have like an ultimate line. Like they have basic, then they have elite, and then they have like an ultimate scale too. They're all 6-inch scale, but they have more articulation and accessories. So it's like
Okay, so
$30.
They're $30. Okay. So yeah, so I get that. So I get where they would just say NECA no because their price point is $37 on an individual figure. So I could see where that would go away. So then, what would Mattel's, if they decide to keep going with the turtles, what would Mattel's turtle figure look like? Would they buy? I guess the people who are producing for NECA, would they buy the rights to have NECA make them for Mattel with their molds?
It would
Probably
it would
not.
depend. I mean, again, it would depend on what Mattel is looking to do. Whether they're looking to make the figures themselves or farm the license out. And then, like, the bigger question would be, what would they be legally allowed to do, right? Like, because again, to go back to what we discussed earlier, how much of the 87 line would be off limits because of what was created? So the 2012 line would probably be something that Mattel could do if they wanted to, because Nickelodeon created all those designs without Playmates. Like Chris said, NECA got the 3D files from Nickelodeon, so I would think anything from that forward would probably be fine. Maybe they'd be able to do the next mutation, but I don't know how much they'd be able to do of the 87 or the 2003 lines. Those would probably go away with the influence of Playmates in the designing phase. So I would say they'd have to, like Chris said, it would have to be all new stuff that they could do unless they wanted to farm the license out. But if you were going to farm the license out anyway, then why would you bother going through the hassle of trying to stop everybody from doing it?
I don't see Mattel doing the 87 line. I don't see that even being a focus because it's been so overdone so badly. I guess to your point, I could see them if they want to do the 2003s or they want to do the 2012s, because we only got, what did we get for the 2003s? We got the 4 turtles, we got Hun.
Oh, from Super 7?
No, didn't we get regular? We got
You're talking about, right? The re-release?
Yeah.
It was just the Turtles.
The 4 turtles you got re-released. I thought you got Shredder as well for that.
I think it was just the
only
4
get the
turtles.
turtles.
As far as I'm aware, it's just the Turtles.
I have them. I just don't know if we got anything else.
But like,
what release are you talking about?
The Playmates one,
what, last year, Playmates re-released the 2003 Turtles in Walmart.
Yeah. Hold on a second. These ones, right?
No, that's 2012.
Oh, these are 2012. Yeah, no, your 2003 was.
Like this is where
yeah.
Like Dan's about to stand up, find out he's not wearing pants. He's just.
I actually specifically put pants on for this.
No, it was just the 4. It was just the 4 turtles.
That's good. Okay, so it was just the 4 turtles. So they could take that line. They could keep running with it. If they get the rights to produce those figures.
Unless a lot of the designs were from Playmates, like that's what I'm saying. Like we don't know
because Playmates is still heavy. Then,
yeah, we don't know what influence Playmates had in the 87 line and the 2003 line. We do know that the 2012 line, Playmates did not design, right? And we know that specifically because the first Playmate figure releases of the Turtles did not actually look like the show. they had to release the turtles that look like the show later on.
So, but then I also then wonder, like, obviously they said that there's gonna be like new media and everything, but are they gonna try and attempt to do a collector line? Are collectors gonna buy into a collector line off of new media when the new stuff hasn't hit home for the adult community, right? It's very kiddie. So it's like, are you gonna
They're
go
doing it
for
for
a collector
DC.
line?
I mean, why
Huh?
why wouldn't they just do? I mean, they're doing it for DC. They're doing a kid line and an adult collector line.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
Why
just
wouldn't
I
they
guess
just
I
go
mean,
off
like,
on their
if you're
own
doing-
designs?
But if you're doing new media, is there enough, or is there anything good that adults are going to want to buy as a collector line for the new stuff from Turtles? Right?
No.
Like,
Why
that's
wouldn't they do something like the Mezco ones where it's just like we're gonna make kind of like our own take on this,
it's
and,
possible.
and we don't have to do 2003 or 2012 or whatever. We're just gonna do like a badass like adult collector style turtle.
But it's
I
going to
don't
be
know.
what they're going to be able to keep going with. Like they're not going to just make one set. That's it. If Mattel is going to take the line and do anything with it, they're going to pick something and they're going to look back and see. Okay, hopefully look back and see. Okay, NECA, did all these fucking figures and all these different, the movies and the cartoons, so on and so forth, and they had whatever success, and so Mattel can stop and say, okay, what can we do that's maybe more cost effective, and maybe not do the 35 different adaptations that NECA decided to do in 15 different box displays, and just pick the characters and go, okay, we're gonna make this line and we're gonna make all the characters, and like just like when you bought them as a kid, right? It's like, who's the new character on the shelf? And until the line is done, just like I guess like they're doing with
I guess
with Motu, the original what was the classic series Motu? They re-released all of the original figures. Same deal.
right. But see, then I wonder if they're going to do, if maybe they'll do something like they're doing with Chronicles, right? Where they're doing a
$10
completely
figure and a $30
different
figure.
style of those characters that has been working out for what they've done there. If they do something like that, it could work.
But
I'm curious to see if they actually at least discuss anything at Comic-Con. They're probably not going to show anything.
what I'm saying is, what property would that work with, right? Because and I don't know much about He-Man, but the Chronicle line is the premium line based on the new movie, right? You have like the cheaper movie toys, and then you have the Chronicle movie toys, which are better likeness, more expensive, and all that.
No. So originally it was like this is what people thought it was going to be, but they released a Scare Glow that they released in Chronicle is not from the movie. So it's just a different scale, and they're more human body versus like the He-Man were like really big fat bodies. They're much more realistic sculpt like that, but they're not necessarily going to be strictly movie. It's going to be everything.
That's
So
the cheaper one.
that's the $10 one, and that
Yeah.
thing is great.
Yeah.
For $10, this Skeletor looks fucking great. Now the He-Man, I mean, they look fine, but I've yet to see a figure for $10 that looks that cool.
But what I'm saying is, like, what would you do? That's the more expensive one.
This is
That's the
it's
Chronicles one.
like the Chronicles. So it's like their collector's one from the movie, I guess.
I haven't gotten to see those in person. Every time I go to Target, they only have freaking Man at Arms and Triclops.
I'm sorry, like I get the scale difference, but again, face sculpt.
But yeah,
Face sculpt.
Yeah, I mean,
The price point for $10 versus $30, right? $30 or $27, Chris. I don't remember.
$24.95 or something, $26.95, something like that.
Okay, so $15 more, you get a bigger figure, more accessories. So the price point, I guess, makes sense there. But they could get away with this if they put this much effort into the turtle line. They
Yeah,
can get
but what
away
I'm-
with a $10 figure that will sell faster.
yeah. So, but
My
what I'm saying is, like, what would they base it on? And I know Ninja Turtles, right? But like, what movie would they base it on?
So
are they gonna do the
Well, no,
first?
I understand what you're saying. Like, which designs would they kind of be going for?
Because
What I'm saying is this: when you look at the Chronicles, right? So the Chronicles, they're putting some of the other characters who aren't from the movie and the original designs are going to be in that style, right? So you could, in theory, where like NECA tried to do with Bebop and Rocksteady, kind of do Bebop and Rocksteady, but in a more realistic style. You know what I mean? Like they could do that and have their own tweak on it. or their own take and do it that round.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
Which-
be a series. It could just
Like,
be
it doesn't have to be based on a
characters.
certain property or a certain version of them. It could be their own version.
Just like Joy Toy. I mean, that's just a Triceraton. They didn't do anything from any particular series. They just made the figures.
Basically,
And-
just do what Playmates originally did, just make their own designs.
Son of a-
Because I mean, what Tony showed with the Master of the Universe, like the way I look at it is, the $10 one is more kind of like an idealized sort of like cartoonish look, whereas the more expensive one is supposed to be more realistic. So if you had like a Turtles movie like the '90s movies, you could have a cheaper one that was kind of like softer looking and more cartoonish, but then also have the more realistic one. It's I don't know. For me, there's so many questions because nobody knows who holds what and what they're going to be allowed. Also, is there a new Ninja Turtle show coming? Right? Like, are they going to do a new movie? Is that what Mattel's going to be basing stuff off of? Nobody has any idea what's going on.
It's 28, I think, is the live action movie. 28 or 29
So
is the new live action. 27 is going to be the new Mutant Mayhem that nobody gives a fuck about anymore.
Whoa, buddy, I'm sitting right here. Okay.
Just saying, just throwing that one out there for the kids.
all
It
of
wasn't
Mutant
bad.
Mayhem wasn't terrible, but they made a lot of stupid decisions in that movie.
Yeah,
I
they had
fun
Ice
with
Cube in it.
movies.
That was the stupid decision.
Hey, I enjoyed Mutant Mayhem more than I enjoyed the Michael Bay Turtle movies. Okay.
Of course, because the Michael Bay Turtle movies, Michael Bay didn't even want them to be Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that was like RoboCop and Transformers had a baby with turtles.
Well,
when
no,
it
because
came out.
I mean, I don't know if you guys remember. I'm sure you all do. But when that movie first came out and they interviewed
They're
Michael
supposed to be
Bay,
aliens.
he said he was getting rid of the mutant Ninja Turtle aspect of it. That he thought that was stupid, and he was going to make them aliens from a different planet that came here. And then people got upset. The studio stepped in and said, "No, it's going to be Ninja Turtles." But then they didn't. Then they didn't do like an actual origin like they were supposed to. Yeah.
I contend that they nailed the characterizations of those characters in those movies. However, they are very fun movies. Please don't make me defend them any further.
I would
So-
say the only good job they did in those movies were I thought Casey Jones was pretty good in the second.
What? That's the worst one part.
And I thought Bebop and Rocksteady were very, very great. in the
I like
second-
Bebop and
Bebop
Rocksteady were great.
Rocksteady pre-mutation.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Bebop
will say they
and
also
Rocksteady-
we
Go ahead.
did get a spot on representation of Vern in a live action Ninja Turtles
Yes.
movie. Will
Yes.
Will Arnett did
I'll
in
give you
fact
that.
nail the worst character in the Ninja Turtles canon.
So Bebop and Rocksteady I liked. Even the Turtles, I wasn't mad at them. I wasn't a big fan of the over detailed all the accessories and shit for their personality. Like
Yeah.
I get it.
Very
But-
busy.
It was everything else in the movie that kind of ruined that, right? Like I could have looked past
So the entire movie.
No, I could have looked past the turtle design if the movie was better. You know what I mean? Like if the story was better,
Yeah,
if it was
and-
better, like I could have looked past the turtle design. That's no problem.
And it is so glaringly obvious that they shot a whole movie that was a complete shit show, and then we're like, you know what? We got to kind of introduce an entire new character to unfuck this thing, and
It
Then,
wanna
you know,
fuck me
'cause
more.
the one dude was supposed to be Shredder, right? The Sack, Johnny Sack, I forget his name. I'm thinking of The Sopranos.
So
Sachs was it's like, what the fuck kind of decision was that? And then when finally they realize that that's not going to land, they have to go back and like refilm the whole movie. The movie itself is almost non sequitur. Like nothing makes sense, but I did have a fun time watching it. And I think that the Turtles did a good job with the character of the Turtles, but
I mean,
I don't hate them. I do like Mutant Mayhem. Look, it's better than Rise of the TMNT. Okay, can
absolutely.
we all agree? Can we all just agree? Can we all hold hands on that at least?
I mean, I'll say
Right.
this: I'll take the Bay Turtle movies over Ninja Turtles 3. I'll take that all day.
Oh, that's a tough one, yeah, but
Yeah.
I think you're right.
I'll take those over Turtles 3 all day.
Wow. You guys are
I don't
running me up
remember
a
having
tree
any
here.
Fun with fucking Turtles 3. Like I've tried one. There's no fun there.
I think that the fun in Ninja Turtles 3 is like the it's not in the watching of the movie. It's in the like knowing that it's like my kid has a really dope lunchbox that's like them in their samurai armor, and it's a drawing. It's not like a live shot from the movie. Like things from that movie look really cool. So it gave us like an aesthetic look for the movie Turtles with the samurai armor and everything. And of course, Paige Turco with the short hair. Love it. But yeah, absolute garbage movie. You're right about that. And to bring back Elias Koteas and then have him fucking babysit in a bar. Come on, have him crack one skull. I want to see him crack one skull.
Yeah.
What says you, Tony?
Wrong with that movie.
The longer I talk about it, the more I admit it's a bad movie.
No. Hold on. He puts on fucking shorts. He's the only one that puts on shorts. The rest of the samurais show up in like a jockstrap overall outfit. And then the one, he's got nothing on but Mikey's shorts. Nobody explains how that took place. He's the only guy.
And then they're like, yeah, there has to be like temporal displacement. Like we've got to be like the same weight as the person that we're displacing. And it's like, you have a fucking shell that probably weighs like 85 pounds. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, but they had armor that probably weighed a ton too. That's how
right. Yeah.
So now they weigh.
Hey, I just happened to find this time travel, and then April comes in. I just happened to find this time traveling egg timer at the store that I found this cool lampshade in.
Yeah,
it's like, come on. I know that we're children here, but Jesus Christ.
a lot of Ninja Turtles movies make very stupid decisions. Like in Mutant Mayhem, having the character Superfly instead of just making it Baxter Stockman. It would have been so much easier to just make the character Baxter Stockman. It would have fit with the lore. Everything would have been fine. But they're like, no, we don't want to do that. We're going to create
same with
it's like,
same
no,
with
do that.
Same with Professor Perry and fucking Secret of the Ooze. Like, why wasn't he just Baxter Stockman? Why is the scientist guy not just Baxter goddamn Stockman? Sorry, I should have asked before we started. Am I allowed to swear on this stream?
Fuck yeah.
You barely never watched our older episodes.
All right.
I just like, I don't understand that movie is like when you saw Bebop, you saw Rocksteady, you saw all the mutants in Mutant Mayhem. It was like you watched kids on screen. Nobody was like oversized, overpowered. They were just all like the same damn size. So it was all like a bunch of little kids that like got mutated or something. And all of a sudden they're all, fighting and this, like, it's like Bebop and Rocksteady are also 13 years old. Yeah. It was like Lord of the Flies, but fucking turtles.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't understand it, dude. And I can't get past it, man. The whole animation, the whole Superfly thing. I got nothing against Ice Cube. He just doesn't belong in a Turtles movie.
I love the animation.
I think you're lying, but
the whole deal with like, oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. Forget about me.
It happens a lot.
Yeah. Well, so what was in that electrolyte water?
Well, now that we mention it,
it's drinks and toys for a reason. There.
It was the other one that was empty. This was Taste Like Chicken Vodka. That's literally what it's called. Tastes like chicken vodka. It's gone now.
There used to be some bottles that didn't.
Oh, did it taste like chicken?
Weird. It was weird. It tastes like the chicken in a biscuit kind of cracker. No, I'm just kidding. It tasted like plain vodka. But
bro, if you told me,
I had the joy of seeing Mutant Mayhem with my 4-year-old on the drive-in screen, and like being able to like see it through his eyes and not really giving a shit about like, is that Ice Cube or whatever. And I think it was a really fun movie, but I agree with you that they, like in an attempt to make the Turtles more teenagery, they almost made them like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like preteens.
And maybe that's just because like Gen Z culturally is different from our generation. They're a little more like playful or whatever, or a little more obsessively online and speak more in memes or whatever. But the Turtles, and I hope they rectify that in the sequel, because I did like Mutant Mayhem. I enjoyed it on the same level that I would enjoy kind of any Turtles property. Just, you can't take it too seriously. You have to just eat the popcorn and have fun. But at the same time, there were some like big warts that I hope that they kind of massage. I mean, they've got 4 years. Hopefully they take the time to actually make it right.
Listen, I didn't hate Mutant Mayhem. I took my daughter to see it. I think she was like 5. We went to the theater to see it when it came out. I didn't hate it, but narratively speaking, they made a lot of poor decisions. Right?
Like, what the hell they do with Ray Fillet? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but
I would argue that there are no good Ninja Turtles movies. There are no Ninja Turtles movies that like are good narratively speaking. That was one of the things that I realized when I went back and watched the 1990 movie.
There's
almost no
speaking. I mean, I don't think there's any narrative trouble in that film.
I think that there is. The Ninja Turtles are not even active participants in their own story. Everything just happens to them. Like if I had written that story, the Ninja Turtles would have like done some detective work to track down Splinter. They don't even know who Shredder is until Shredder shows up on the rooftop with them. Who's this guy?
Nobody knows who Shredder is until Shredder debuts on the rooftop, right?
Danny knew. How can Danny know who Shredder is before the Ninja Turtles? That's what I'm talking about. There is no good Ninja Turtle movie. We just love them because we're kids. And like Secret of the Ooze fucking sucks. Like nothing that happens in Secret of the Ooze makes sense. It's just awesome.
Wow. That's a super hot take.
I didn't realize we were doing. Like,
I mean, we're not talking about Braveheart or the Shawshank Redemption here. Like we're talking about Ninja Turtles. I mean, the first one does make the most narrative sense, but like at what point in the movie do the Ninja Turtles start to participate in their own narrative? Like if you want to talk narrative and like writing, the heroes of the story, everything just happens to them in the first movie. There is no narrative structure.
Sure, but I mean, a lot of movies that they so you can make the same argument about Luke Skywalker in A New Hope, right? Like everything just kind of happens to him. He doesn't participate right up until he gets with Han to go rescue Leia inside of inside.
That's not true. At the moment he sees Aunt Beru get killed, he passionately goes to Obi-Wan and say, "I want to go to Alderaan and I want to become a Jedi like my father."
He doesn't see them get killed. He goes back to his place. He goes back to.
He sees. Okay, we're splitting hairs here. He sees their charred corpses, and then he makes the narrative decision to go do something in the story. The Ninja Turtles wait around. And then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, we ate fucking marshmallows and hallucinated Splinter. Now we know where the Foot Clan hideout is." Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Sure, like, okay, so we're splitting hairs.
He's not wrong.
We're arguing semantics, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think that you are overlooking the fact that, like in A New Hope, for instance, he doesn't come up with that plan. Obi-Wan's been telling him since the very beginning, "You need to come with me. You need to come with me." He keeps saying no, and then finally he says yes. And that's the same.
That's because Obi-Wan serves what is called the role of the Threshold Guardian.
Sure.
Okay, this is Joseph Campbell shit.
Sure.
Obi-Wan is the Threshold Guardian. Who is the Ninja Turtles Threshold Guardian?
Okay. I mean, I guess that a very loose interpretation of that would have to be April, right? Like that would be the loose interpretation there. They save April, right? They accompany her back to the house. They go to seek advice from her when Splinter gets kidnapped, right? So all those things kind of narratively line up with what Obi-Wan does with Luke to a certain extent in an independent film that had a small budget. What I'm talking about narrative problems, I'm talking about look at Mutant Mayhem, right? And look at the fact that you have a character already in canon that serves the exact same role with the exact same design as the brand new character that you had to create for what? Right? So you say, "Oh,
I know.
Baxter Stockman was in an explosion and he died, and now here's his character, Superfly." Could be like, "Hey, Baxter Stockman was in an explosion, the mutagen hit him, he turned into Baxter Fly." Right? Like narratively, there were tons of problems in Mutant Mayhem. I don't know that you can say narratively there were tons of problems in the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie. Were there some shortcomings for an independent film? Absolutely. Overall, the narrative makes sense in my opinion, right? So we can be picky and we can point out different things. I just don't see it.
Roger.
Where's my popcorn? That was fun.
That's why I like to go on panels. I don't like to agree with everybody.
Oh yeah, no, it's boring.
We have
Everybody
no
agrees.
problem with it. You have no idea how much I love all of this right now. This is my whole fucking night. It's great.
But I always accept this with a grain of salt and popcorn because it is popcorn.
You're gonna
And I
have to
just want to
accept
have
it with a
fun.
grain of Psycho.
I think so, but I tend to, and not just with Ninja Turtles, but I tend to go into all media with a very forgiving mindset. Like, I just
I'm
want to
there.
see what the director made. I just want to experience the movie. And honestly, at the end of the day, if the movie sucks, it's like, whatever. But with Ninja Turtles, I think that sometimes the creators, like, they see it and it's so wild. Like, Ninja Turtles is so wild. We take it for granted because we've had it our whole lives, but it is such a wild concept. I think sometimes writers get just kind of like go off the deep end. We can take and do whatever idea we want with this, and it'll just work because it's the Turtles. You know what I mean?
That's true. I agree with that.
I definitely like your philosophy of going in to enjoy the film, and I try to do that, right? And there are some films that I am more successful, and some that I am less, right? So with Mutant Mayhem, I went in, like I said, I didn't hate it. That was the one thing that bothered me. But so, for instance, I talk about, we mentioned on the podcast the 2016 Ghostbusters Answer the Call, right? Like, for me, there's that suspension of disbelief, okay? Like, you go into any film with suspension of disbelief, especially a film dealing with ghosts that come back, that haunt people, that attack people, blah, blah, blah. My issue with that film is you can't have your cake and eat it too, in the sense you can't say, oh, this has nothing to do with it, it's all new, everything is completely different, but then expect me to believe, even when I'm willing to suspend that belief, that you come up with the same logo, you come up with the same names for everything, you can't, and like, I think that movies hit plateaus where they decide, okay, well, now we're going to take your generosity to be willing to accept things, and we're just going to make you accept a whole bunch of shit that doesn't make any sense, right? And I think that there's a fine line that some movies aren't able to recognize, and that's my example of a movie that just gets so much of it wrong. It's like, okay, we're completely different, but the logo is the same. We call the car the Ecto-1. We call the tools the Proton Pack and the Ghost Trap. It's like, okay, well, there's coincidence, and then there's like, what the hell is this? And you can't have it both ways.
And like, when you put the property in the hands of a hack like Kevin Feige or Seth Rogen, who I don't know how you guys feel about Seth Rogen, but I think he's a fucking hack. And I know that he wasn't the director of the movie, but he produced it, and sort of had creative control over it. When you put somebody in the driver's seat who doesn't appreciate or understand or is kind of a hack, and they let them run wild, then they will lose the plot like that.
Just so we don't get hate for no reason, I believe you meant Paul Feig and not Kevin, because Kevin's in charge of the MCU.
Kevin Feige, yeah, no, Paul Feig, yeah. I'm sorry, I apologize. Yes, I did not mean to direct the hate to that guy. He's made some good movies, but yeah, Paul Feig, just what a fucking hack. And like, that's a great example. That's a great example to bring up as a counterpoint to me, because that movie is so unbelievably like unwatchable trash. Yeah,
it's not a bad movie. It's just a bad Ghostbusters movie, right? And again, you can have everything there for you, and if you don't know how to put it together, that's when you're going to have problems. And I think that a lot of Ninja Turtle movies had that issue, right? We'll go back to Turtles 3. I think they wanted to do a Turtles in Time movie. They didn't know how to do it, and they're like, okay, let's just do this, right? But they wanted to go cheap. They left the Jim Henson Company. You got crappy suits. You decided to hire different writers who had not done motion pictures before, and like, you get what you pay for. The 2007 CGI movie I thought was relatively good, but it had some absolute problems, right? Like,
huge pacing and story issues.
Yes, and you didn't explain as much as you should have this background with the Winters character and all this other stuff. Like, the explanations came at the very end so quickly that it kind of didn't feel natural anymore. And then you move into the Michael Bay films where they're just like, Michael Bay wanted aliens, and so he treated them like they were aliens, even though the studio made him call it what it was, because the fans got upset. It's like, if you don't have a clear vision and you don't follow what you should follow, things are going to go bad.
That 2007 movie is a perfect example, because I actually love that movie. There are parts of that movie that I love, but it is so poorly paced and so clunky and hard. It's like hard to watch.
Yeah.
That I never want to put it. I never want to put it on. I wish there was a cut of it that was like 55 minutes or something, or even just like you said, like cut differently. Like so much of it like gets dropped on you at the end for a movie that has like a 10-minute long exposition at the beginning where they explain everything. You're right. It's like so much comes in at the end, and it totally has failed in execution because it's a great story, great representation of the turtles. It's got Karai in it. It's an interesting take. It's sort of like a Dark Knight Returns thing where the turtles have been out of business for a couple years and then Leo returns and there's this awkward energy. Could have been great.
It's supposed to be a sequel to the original trilogy.
Yeah, and I look at it as such, and like I said, like I would watch it more, except that it's just like a clunky ass watch. It's very weirdly paced. But then like with part 3, there's a part of me with part 3 that's just like, I'm just happy to have rubber suit turtles on the screen. You know what I mean? One last time. Like at least we got one last one in. Maybe it sucked a little bit, but at least we got one last one in. You know what I mean? And there's a part of me that's just like so forgiving of media that, you know, I understand all the points that you make about it, but also it's like my ugly little child. You know, I love him so much. No one will love him as much as I do. But it's like the Ninja Turtles become like a free ticket to like make bad creative decisions. It happens all the time.
That's true. That's true.
It's because it's.
I think part of it is because
it's such.
No, you were going to say exactly what I was going to say.
I was going to say it's just such an easy thing to fuck with.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day,
and when you
can
can
do whatever you want to do, and nobody's going to question it because it's Turtles. It can be whatever it wants to be.
Right. When some of your most popular characters are like dudes that are literally just like made of muck.
Yeah.
You know, you're throwing spaghetti at the wall and like seeing what kids like. And we're now 40-year-old men like. And it's easy to go off the rails because you never know what's going to stick.
But that was my whole thing with Mutant Mayhem. First of all, I didn't care for it. It is what it is. But I don't think Mutant Mayhem was anything more than they were trying to capture a younger crowd, and they were hoping that the older fans, because they're watching it with their kids, like obviously you guys did, I saw it with my son, because it's Turtles. At the end of the day, it's still Turtles. Yep. Whether I loved it or hate it, it was still Turtles, and I was going to go see it.
Yeah.
And again, it was one of those things where you're watching it, and they want to bridge the gap. They want to bridge that age gap to get your younger kids to want to be interested. And because it's, you know, a franchise that you remember, you know, it's like, yeah, I remember that. It's something you can identify and you can connect with your kids on, whatever level. And yeah, so it made for toy sales. It made for the movie watchers over and over again. It made for people renting it at home. You know, it made for clothing and you know, you name it, and they put shit out for it. But I don't think it was meant to be anything like that, or anything beyond that. And I think that's why the characters, for me at least, were so disappointing, because I will never take that for anything more than it was. They put out something for people to watch with their kids, and I think it's super childish, and I didn't find anything great beyond that. I don't see where it can go any further. So like the fact that there's another movie, I'm just in my head, I'm like, why? Like you did the first one, leave it alone. I don't give a shit that they're in school. I don't give a shit that their friend April got over the fact that she vomits every time she gets nervous. Like
that, I didn't get.
Shit. None of that shit made sense to me in the fucking movie.
I like that April O'Neil. I've got her right here. Look, I fucking got her right here. Okay, got right here. Why does she vomit everywhere?
Yeah,
why?
No, April was.
Here's the thing.
Vomiting was stupid.
Yes.
That whole concept, that movie was made to kind of be like a new start, you know, for a newer generation. That's their whole thing behind it. Like, so I mean, I get where you're coming from, Tony, but it really wasn't made for you, wasn't made for me, wasn't made for us. You know, the only thing that bridges that gap is just the name, and it's the four turtles, really, you know. But in all essence, you know, it was made for this newer generation in pretty much every aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a brand reboot, if you will, without actually being a full-on reboot.
My daughter,
you know, whereas, I mean, you look at TF1, you know, it's also the same thing with that. It was made for a younger generation. I think they did a little better job as far as bridging the gap between the older G1 generation, and your early 2000s generation to this new one, what they're doing with TF1. It's kind of that similar concept. It's just, I think they did a better job at doing that, bridging that gap versus what Turtles did.
Well, I think there's also, when you're talking Transformers, man, especially Transformers 1, you're talking about iconic characters that have been in a bunch of successful adaptations of Transformers, right? So very few adaptations of Transformers have been unsuccessful.
I wouldn't say that.
Listen, if we're comparing, Turtles are my thing, and if we're comparing the two, I think there's been more failures in the I say failures loosely in the Turtle world than in the Transformers world, and I don't get Mutant Mayhem. I still don't get it. And again, I don't know how the hell there's going to be a second movie. What's it going to be? Now we're in college. I don't know. The whole thing just completely floors me. I don't understand the need for that whole side of the story. So I mean, I prefer the 2007 more than fucking Mutant Mayhem by far. I don't give a shit about the story. At least that made sense to me. This Mutant Mayhem was just fucking trash.
I mean, I'm not willing to say it's trash, but I agree with what Johnny is saying because I think it spoke to its audience. My daughter loved it, and she still likes it, and she'll watch it on her own. And
Damien liked it, but Damien would eat paste if I left it in front of him at that age.
Oh,
we got the Battle Arena guys, okay? It was all worth it because we got the Battle Arena guys, all right? Don't tell me you're too much of a real collector to not have the Battle Arena guys.
Oh, you're right. I apologize for my ignorance.
That seemed like an incident.
No, I mean it's that, but isn't that one of the great things about this franchise is that it has lasted for so long and been through so many iterations that there really is something for everybody in it. Yeah. I mean, that the Mutant Mayhem did appeal to younger kids. It helped bring, I mean, like my kids would have gotten into Ninja Turtles anyway because I forced it on them. Yeah. But it helped. Of course, dude, I'm not joking when I say I think Ninja Turtles is legit one of the best children's properties of all time. I will fucking go on an hour-long rant about that. I don't even. You don't have to. I banned Curious George in my house. Okay, we don't let the kids watch Curious George because it fills them up with terrible ideas. Okay, but I will let the
that is a topic for Jesus Christ.
Weird shit with monkeys,
dude. I'll die on that hill. We can do it on a different episode, but Curious George is a fucking horrible show for children.
That's a collector's episode. But you guys continue. I have to go pick up my wife from the airport, so I have to bail out. I will be watching, hopefully, while I'm driving, though. Enjoy. It was good meeting you, NECA King. I'll be in contact.
I mean, we're probably only going to be on another 10 minutes anyway because it's almost 10 o'clock. No, I mean, listen, I feel the same way. I made sure to get my daughter Ninja Turtle stuff when she was born. I got those nightlight things with their turtle bodies, but they had the hard shell that you'd turn on. It would put the stars on. I bought all 4 of those for her. They were around her crib. Like, it's been Ninja Turtle. I bought the reissue Turtle Van and everything else, the reissue Turtle Blimp, because I didn't want her touching my stuff. She's got to touch, she's got to have her own stuff. Like, that's. But she loved Mutant Mayhem, and she wanted figures for it, and I got those for her. I didn't buy any of the secondary releases, right? I bought like the original waves of each character, and then that was it. She got the Turtle Van for that. She really wanted the play set. I found the play set for like super cheap on clearance at a Walmart, and I picked it up and got it for her. So, I mean, the media has to speak to the person who wants it. And for whatever reason, because I wasn't a huge fan of the movie, but I can watch it. I don't despise it the way Tony does. I think that if it spoke to the kids and that's what keeps Turtles alive for them, at least it's being kept alive. But I mean, I do prefer. Tony's like, I'd rather watch 2007 movie. Absolutely. I love 2007 movie. I'll watch it. But, my daughter and I are not the same. And so for the kids, I think Mutant Mayhem speaks to them in a way that the other stuff doesn't. I just showed my daughter recently the original Ninja Turtle movie because growing up, I only let her watch Ninja Turtle 2 because the first one is quite a bit darker, right? So It's like when she was younger and everything was Ninja Turtles. I'm like, okay, Ninja Turtles 2, you can watch that. And she just watched it over and over and over. And the first time I showed her the first Ninja Turtles movie, she was like, wow, this is different. And I'm like, it is different. For
She was
sure.
like, Dad, this is full of all these narrative holes that I can't explain.
It was more like, did Casey Jones just kill Shredder? No, he's fine. You saw him in the second movie.
That is so wild, dude. Casey Jones just straight up murders Shredder. Like, holy, oops.
I still like that toy. Just throwing it out there. I still want the garbage truck.
No, but it was hilarious. My daughter's all like, did he just kill Shredder?
It's okay, honey. They're gonna feed him to worms, and he's gonna come back as a new Shredder.
I love the fact that and I know we only have a couple more minutes and we'll call it for sure because otherwise we start losing people. But I still love the fact that when you watch the first movie, it is very much the cartoon, very much the comic book.
Yes.
And I love that they ended it that way. And you watch the movie, it's like they ended it just like the comic book. It's just like Shredder's dead, and that's it. That's the end of it. And that is still one of my favorite things that Damien and I will sit there and watch. We'll go straight to YouTube, and we'll go straight to the battle between Shredder and the Turtles, and we'll sit there and just watch that over and over and over again because it's just such a good scene. Just
I love that the studio hired a guy thinking they were going to get a movie like the show, but the guy had never seen the show. He'd only read the comics. And when the movie was done, they're like, oh my God, what is this?
Well, it produced a lot of work for the guy who did the score, who was John Dupree. I watched interviews with him, and he was like, this movie has such conflicting tones. On one hand, it's like dark in the shadows. People are getting their heads bashed. A guy gets crushed by a garbage truck. And on the other hand, I've got to make this scene kind of light for the kids with the score.
Yeah.
And he said he had to experiment with a couple of different things because if he went too dark with the score, it made things too dark. If it went too silly, it ruined the whole feel. And he had to walk this tightrope. And his score is absolutely
the score is
brilliant.
great. The score is great.
Yeah, that's bonkers, man. Like the music when the antique shop catches fire. And the suspense and everything that's going on with that, where it's like they got to hurry up and get the hell out of there, and they're still trying to fight their way out, and Casey's trying to cover them when they're getting out, and then on the rooftop, same thing when they're sitting there fighting Shredder, the same thing with the music, man, and just how well that all freaking goes together.
And the way he jumped, from that suspenseful stuff, or when the Shredder walks in, dun dun dun,
yep,
dun, 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 and then on the other hand. Going to the complete opposite tone when they're coming down the sewer pipe. It's like, there's steel drum. It feels like you're in the Caribbean at Club Med. It's like, what the fuck is going on with this? But somehow he managed it. Seriously, there's steel drum in there. It sounds like you're having a fucking rum and coke on the beach or something. And it's like, how did he mix these tones? And the first movie somehow just somehow mixes these tones perfectly. And wow, it was a true lightning in a bottle moment for cinema.
Agreed.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say that was fantastic. And I'm going to go ahead and call it. So we are done for the night. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, so much. I will let everybody plug for a second in a minute. But thank you, everybody in the chat, for coming out tonight. I see a couple of you still stuck around. So thank you, guys, for the engagement. We had a great time with you tonight. Again, if you have not watched us live, you are missing out. Get your ass on here and watch it. It's entertaining to see it live. It's also good when you get it on Spotify. So like it and subscribe to it and watch it or whatever the hell you want to do. Just make sure you're doing it later on. And Psycho, you got anything for Thursday? I don't know what the agenda is, if anything.
Chris and I hadn't talked about it. I imagine that he's probably got something in mind that he's thinking about, but I don't know what it is.
All right, we'll have to get across that. I guess he'll cross that point with you at some point. But Johnny, what you got?
There's stuff. I'm just so tired. I'm just kind of like, bleh.
You're good, man. And we've got a show in 2 weeks, so we've got not this weekend, but the following week, the weekend of the 11th. There's a show in Tampa, so hopefully that's a good one. Tampa
Then
shows usually pretty good. So what now?
The week after as well, we got a Toy Jam. Well, I don't know. Are you doing Toy Jam?
I'm not, but if he's got an extra spot, I might sneak my way in. We'll see what happens. And Dan, thank you for coming, man.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
We'll absolutely
Very
have you
fun.
back on because there's nothing more fun than watching Psycho argue with somebody else. So it makes for quality entertainment. We just get to sit back and enjoy my chair. So
Right on. And if there's anybody out there who wants something a little different, go check out the NECA King. Like I said, started off trying to do sort of like a parody of the typical unboxing video. Slowly became a collector and an unboxer myself, but still very acerbic, very self-aware. If you want something a little different that doesn't just like kiss the toy's ass, but also I try to make good unboxing videos. And of course, the last thing I put out was $10,000 Shelf, which is the greatest comedy skit that's ever been done about toy collecting. And actually, in the end, ends up being my entire thesis on collecting. It's a very interesting $10,000 Shelf. Check it out. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out because I love to watch that kind of stuff. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight. We appreciate you. And as always, nut hips.